Welcome back. This is covering all different types of compressors. Now, we're not teaching you how to build compressors, how to do the ratios and all this. We're trying to get you to understand a few simple things. One, you need to be sure that you can identify all the compressors that we're showing you. Two, understand the refrigerant flow through a compressor of that certain type of compressor that we're talking about. It all does the same thing. It's just how it goes about getting the refrigerant compressed. There's a few things that you're going to need to know. First, you're going to have your lab sheet with you. The second is these compressors are going to be positioned somewhere in the lab. I can't tell you because we keep changing them around. And that's okay. The other thing that you're going to need is your NCCER textbook, because it does have the basic understanding of what compressors are and how they work. But what I'm also suggesting that you have on hand is your Bible, as we call it here. All right, your AHRI textbook. All right, and in there you may find your My HVAC Lab. If you have this, you can go online. If you're taking the instructions online and use this. It has a lot of great information. Again, you're only going to get out what you put in. And if you want to save yourself some time and agony, go and do what you're supposed to do in these textbooks. If you open up the chapter, what is it? Compressors, Unit 15, all right? It discusses all the compressors and how they function, major parts. Again, we're not trying to get you to understand how it's built, but we do want you to understand how the system works, all right? I'm not gonna bore you with pages and pages. There's a small chapter in there. I want you to read it prior to coming out into the lab, because that will help you understand what I'm about to talk about. There are basically 5 major compressors for residential and light commercial that we're going to be worried about. But understand that when you leave here, you need to be able to understand and identify each and every one of the compressors that we have. Now, this, even though it doesn't, very seldom does it exist. This compressor right here, and you can take these compressors in any order, so it really doesn't matter. We don't want you to take it apart, all right? If I tell you to take apart something, then that's fine. If I don't, just leave it alone, all right? Because you're going to explain how this works. And it's documented in both the book and the videos and CDs from RSES. So don't come out here like it's a new day, okay? Now, we did a cutaway on this, and it's very, very simple. You have 2 ports here, and I'm going to turn it. And you notice that if you're on the work table, try to protect it, okay? If there's newspaper or something here, but you see the 2 outlets here. One is your high pressure side, which is painted red, and the low pressure side, which is painted blue. Now, the white area is basically neutral, all right? We're not going to go all into that. But what I do need you to understand is those 2 ports, and what hooks up to those ports are what known as service valves, all right? And there's different versions, and later down the road, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But just know the 2 sides. Now you'll see in here where I painted it blue. Anything painted blue is low pressure. Anything painted red is high pressure. All right? So now, this is known as an open compressor. Very seldom used anymore, but it's great for understanding the basics. An open compressor has to use some sort of external power, all right? Such as a motor or a pulley system or a motor with a pulley or something, all right? As you can see, there's two pistons in this puppy, all right? And there's what we call bottom center, when the piston is all the way at the bottom, and top center, when the piston is all the way at the top. Now, you want to understand and be able to speak the same lingo here, all right? Because when a homeowner has to pay for a compressor, they want to know what went wrong with that compressor. And your customer, if he or she feels that you fully understand the refrigerant flow, understands how the compressor works, and you can explain that in layman's terms, then you're going to be much better off. All right, so what we're going to do is the refrigerant comes in the low side as a low pressure, low temperature, superheated gas. All right, so remember that. Low pressure, low temperature, superheated gas. Memorize it. So as the low pressure, low temperature, superheated gas comes into the inlet, it travels into this canal, and as you can see, there are two holes here and here. When you look at the compressor, you will be able to see where that vapor, just because of the pressure it's under, which isn't great, but it's hot, it's enough pressure to raise that refrigerant up into the storage area, let's say. Okay? And this is the storage area for the low side. Now, as the refrigerant builds up, your pistons, which either one of them, each piston is drawing from one high side or low side at the same time, all right? And you'll be able to see that as you physically play with the compressor. Now, as the piston begins to draw back, all right, you will understand that the refrigerant up here on the low side, and that's all we're talking about right now, the low pressure, the low temperature superheated gas on the low side, you will notice that there's 4 holes on the top. These 4 holes right here. All right? As that compressor draws down, at some point, the pressure on top inside this channel and the pressure inside the cylinder are going to equal at one point, and then the pressure is going to go drop into a negative pressure somewhere as this compressor valve drops. When that drops, you will see you can lift this off and you can see these little butterflies, all right? Those are valve seats. Those valve seats are designed to open only on one side as it draws down, right? So, in this case, the refrigerant would be sucked in on this piston as it draws down. When it bottoms out and starts to come back up, what's happening? Well, now it's beginning to increase in its pressure. As you increase the pressure, it's going to close those little valves. All right? Well, you ask yourself, where is it going to go? Well, as that pressure builds up, now the pressure is greater than the pressure on top. And therefore it closes the low recess or the low flapper valves, and it continues to build until such time as it creates pressure inside right here for the high side. And if you notice, the high side hole is right underneath these valves. All right? These are preset at the factory. We're not going to get all into that. But understand that this red is the high side now. So as that piston comes up the dead top center, it's compressed it now from a low pressure, low temperature, superheated gas to now a high pressure, high temperature, superheated gas. All right? Just because it was all vapor and it's compressed it now so that whatever this was set at for pressure-wise, it's going to open it up and allow the high pressure, high temperature, superheated gas to come into this compressor and into this side of the compressor, excuse me. All right? Now, the same thing. It goes down through these two holes, and it's going to come out this chamber and out on the high side service valve. All right? Now, you need to understand that because you're going to explain that to the instructors. Again, only one side is operating on high and one side is operating on low because, of course, one piston is coming down while the other piston is going up. All right? Without making it too difficult, all right? It works the same as your combustion car, all right? Except that we're not trying to light it on fire, all right? Now, all the parts are here. We're not designing a system. We just want you to understand how this system goes together. Now, all the bolts are here, and we don't want you to torque anything down. We just want you to put the material back as it is. Understand how this compressor works. It's an open compressor. It's going to take low pressure, low temperature, superheated gas on the low side. With the help of the compressors, or the help with the cylinders, it's going to take in the low pressure, low temperature, superheated gas, and at the same time compress the low temperature, low pressure, superheated gas to a high pressure, high temperature, superheated gas. All right? This is considered to be the heart of a refrigeration system. All right? So therefore, doesn't matter what size of compressor you have, all compressors work the same way. Now, how they go about getting and mechanically changing that low pressure to high pressure may differ, but it has to happen the same way in any compressor. May it be this obsolete one to the other ones that we're going to show you, to the centrifugal or the screw type major compressors for the college, let's say. All right? So I'm hoping that you understand this. If you do not understand this, go back to your book, go back to my lab, my HVAC lab. Look at the RSES tapes, because this is the heart of the system. You have to have a clear understanding in BCT 132 how all these operate before you can go troubleshoot anything. I hope it gives you a clear understanding. If you have issues, let us know. We'll help you out. Thank you.